Hello everyone, it's Halloween again. It's time for dressing up, for special treats and sweets and chocolate. It's a great time for fun and parties. It's also a good time for tricks and lots of mysterious fun. But I think it's especially a good time for spooky stories and even some magic. Now, I need one of my friends to come and help me with some ideas for special Halloween stories just for you. Now, who can I ask to help me? I know. I'm going to ask Sparky. Hello everyone, we're ready for our first story, and I said I was going to introduce you to Sparky. Well, he lives in this, and it isn't a teapot. It looks a bit like one of those old-fashioned lamps, the sort that people used to use before there was electricity. They'd put oil inside and a little bit of cloth down here and stick it down the spout, and then they'd set fire to it, and it would give you light to see by when it was dark. But you've probably guessed, this is a genie lamp, and Sparky is a genie. Now, I don't think I'd better put oil in the lamp. He wouldn't like it and probably wouldn't help me with the story. And he doesn't like people rubbing his lamp. He says it leaves finger marks. So he has magic words, which we'll call him, and they go like this. The first one is Abracadabra. You have to wave your hands. Come on, you have a go. Abracadabra. Go and try it. Abracadabra. That's good. And the second word is Alakazam. You have to wave your other hand and go Alakazam. And the third thing you have to do is wave both hands. Now I have to hold the lamp, but you can wave both hands and go Hocus Pocus. Very good. And the last thing you have to do is just bounce on your chair, on the floor, wherever you are, just a little bit and go bam, bam, bam. And if you can do all that, well, we'll get Sparky to come out of the lamp. So are you ready? Here we go. Abracadabra, Alakazam, Hocus Pocus, bam, bam, bam. Oh, here he is, Sparky. Now say hello to everyone. Yes, just say hello. Yes, you can say hello. You can wave hello. Hello, Sparky. He's kind of magic, so he can probably see you, even though this is a video. What's that? You want to wave your other hand? Okay. Here we go. Hello, Sparky. Both hands? All right. Yes, you can wave both hands. Hello, Sparky. Now that's enough. Sparky, will you stop waving? Sparky, stop waving. Sparky, you're being embarrassing. Stop waving. Oh, what am I going to do? Look, when he gets like this, there's only one thing I can do. Sparky, Sparky, Sparky. Oh, look, what's that? Oh, I see. You've had an idea for a story. And waving like that gives you a good idea for a story, does it? Oh, phew, I didn't have to carry out my trick. You didn't hear that, did you, Sparky? Look, I just want an idea for a story, something with a lot of magic, something that's perfect for Halloween. Have you got a good idea? Well, that's the ceiling, Sparky. I'm not going to tell a story about the ceiling. That would be really silly. Now, Sparky, look at me. That's better. Are you ready? Oh, Sparky, will you look at me? Oh, Sparky, will you look at me? Sparky, behave yourself. Just behave yourself. Sparky, stop looking around. Sparky, that's silly. Oh, when he gets like this, I will have to play that Halloween trick on him, the one that I mentioned. It is a bit of a bad trick, but listen, it always works. Sparky, Sparky, there's a Halloween monster behind you. No, I was making it up, Sparky. I was making it up. Look, stop it, Sparky. No, all right, I'm sorry. Yes, I was making it up. But you see, Sparky, sometimes I have to play tricks. And sometimes, I know, you prefer tricks, don't you? But sometimes you prefer treats, but sometimes I have to use tricks. Yes, I'm really sorry. No, don't give out to me, Sparky. It's time to start our story. Oh, I see, Sparky. I'm very sorry. He says he was just looking for his magic bag. Well, I know where your magic bag is, Sparky, because it's here. You can hold it. That's right, you hold it. But the trouble with the magic bag is it's empty. It's always empty. I don't know why. So I don't think that's going to help us come up with a good idea for a story. I don't think a story about nothing would be very exciting. But wait a minute. Yes, we can use the sparky magic, can't we? It is a magic bag. Will you help? We can use the sparky words again, the magic words. You remember how they go now. It goes abracadabra, that's right, alakazam, hocus pocus, bam, bam, bam. Get your head out of there, Sparky. Will you get your head out of there? And I don't suppose there's anything in there. Well, let's have a... What's that? Well, that's all there is. Do you know, I think you've helped with the sparky magic, and we've got something out of it. It seems to be some sort of whistle. Oh, it doesn't sound very good, though. It doesn't make a very good noise. I wonder if it would make a good story. A story about a magic tin whistle. I know the one you mean, Sparky. Will you help me? What do you mean, no? Why won't you help me? Oh, I see. He says he was busy when we called him out of the lamp. Well, what were you doing that was so important? Oh, he was washing his hands. That's a very good thing to do lots of times now. No, you weren't washing your hands this time, although you do wash your hands regularly, don't you, Sparky? Oh, you were washing up. Look, Sparky, you better tell me what you were doing. I can't keep guessing. You were playing on your PlayStation? He's got a PlayStation 4 down there. Look, Sparky, all right, you go and play on your PlayStation because I know that everybody who's watching the video will help me. Okay, Sparky, we'll see you in a minute. Okay, after the story. We'll call you back later. All right, off you go, Sparky. Right, so let's put you there. I'll put him on the floor, I think, for the moment. We can get him back later. Now, my story has got lots of magic in it, and it is about a tin whistle. In fact, it's about 2 tin whistles. But it starts a long time ago. Maybe it was somewhere in Longford. Now, Longford a long time ago was still a town where there were lots and lots of small villages all around it. And back then, it was a bit harder to travel. You see, there weren't any cars or trains or buses. And if you went anywhere, you'd have to walk or at best use a donkey cart. So people didn't travel so much. But they still liked to gather together whenever they could. And they loved parties and gatherings. They loved talking. They loved music. They loved dancing. They loved singing, and they loved telling stories. So when they could, just like we do when we can, we get together and tell stories and play music and sing and dance. But the trouble was, in this small village, somewhere in Longford, and I'm not sure where it was, there was nobody who could tell stories. There was nobody who could play music, not even a tin whistle, and there was nobody who could sing. So when all the people got together for parties or gatherings, they would sit around and go, "I'm bored. I've got nothing to do." And they just got sadder and sadder and more miserable. Now, there were 2 brothers in the village. Now, I don't know their names, but we'll call one Sean and we'll call the other Michal, okay? It doesn't really matter what their names are. Now, the thing about Sean, he was one of those people who was always cheerful and happy. Nothing was too much for him. If anyone was feeling sad, there he was with a big smile. If anybody was feeling unwell or needed help, there he was with 2 helping hands. And if anybody needed cheering up, there he was with a happy grin, and they'd soon feel really cheerful again. He was as happy as a sunny Sunday in August. Now, his brother Michal was a bit different. He was one of those people who always seemed to have a scowl. He was always grumpy. And the thing about Michal was that if anybody was feeling ill, there he was with a, "Oh, you do look bad," and they'd soon feel worse. And if anyone needed a helping hand, well, he wasn't there at all. He was as miserable as a wet Wednesday in November. Well, Sean used to think about how he could help the people in the village. If only he could play music, if only he could sing. And then he had a brilliant idea. You see, just outside the village, there was a little hill. and on the top of the hill were 3 twisty thorn trees. And everybody said that this hill was where the people of the Sidhe, the people of the other world, the fairy people, used to go and dance. And he thought maybe if he watched them singing and dancing and playing music, maybe he could learn how to do it. But everybody said, you must keep away from there. It's dangerous. They're more likely to give you tricks than treats. Well, Sean wanted to help, so one night he crept out of the village up to the top of the hill, and he sat quietly on top of the hill watching. But all he could see was the leaves and the wind blowing in the leaves of the hawthorn trees. But all he could hear was the thump, thump, thump of his own heart. And then suddenly, he heard a noise. He heard a voice, and it was going, Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday. A strange thought Sean, but he went on listening. And then lots of voices joined in, and so can you. Are you ready? Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, until they stopped. Well, Sean thought about it, and then he began to sing very gently, Monday, Tuesday, also Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, also Wednesday, and lots of voices joined in, and so can you. Monday, Tuesday, also Wednesday, and they went on till they stopped. And there was silence, not even the sound of the wind, and all of a sudden, behind Sean, there was a made him jump. And there was a man in a red hat and green jacket, and the man said, Oh, Sean, thank you for joining in, but I see you changed our tune. Oh, I did, said Sean, but I do hope you don't mind. Not at all, said the man. You made it better, and for that we'd like to give you a treat, something special. What would you like? Anything. I know what I'd like, said Sean. I'd like to be able to play music so I can make all the people in the village happy. Ah, said the man, that's a good idea. And suddenly, and he gave Sean a tin whistle, rather like this one. And suddenly, all around Sean, there was a sort of misting, and the misting became a fogging, and the fogging became a sleeping, and the sleeping became a dreaming, and the dreaming became a waking. And Sean woke up, and the sun was rising in the sky, and his clothes were wet with dew, but in his hands was the whistle. No, he'd never played a whistle before, but he was going to have a go. So that night, when all the people gathered together, just wishing that there was somebody to play music or somebody to sing, they were all going, I'm bored, I've got nothing to do. And rather nervously, Sean took out his whistle and he began to play. Now, I can't play a tin whistle. I'm not like Sean, and I'm not going to try now. But you'll have to imagine that the music that the people heard was so beautiful. It was out of this world. And they all began to dance. They got out of their places, they tapped their feet, they began to dance and sing, and they had the happiest time ever. So after that they said, Sean, will you play for us every evening and every time we get together? And Sean said he would. And that should be the end of our story. We've forgotten someone. Who have we forgotten? You're right, we've forgotten Mihal. Now, the trouble is, I told you he was very grumpy. And grumpy people, well, they're the sort of people who say, it's not fair. And the more you say, it's not fair, the more grumpy you get. And the more grumpy you get, the more you say, it's not fair. And he became very jealous. So he decided that he would go to the little hill outside the village, and he would get music that was better than his brother's. So he stomped off to the top of the green hill. He plonked himself down on the top and he waited. At first, all he could hear was the wind in the branches of the trees, and all he could see was the wind in the branches, and all he could hear was the thump, thump, thump of his own heart. Then he heard a voice. Monday, Tuesday, also Wednesday, and lots of voices joined in, and so can you. Monday, Tuesday, also Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, also Wednesday. What about Thursday and Friday? Yelled Mihal, and there was silence. Well, that sorted them out, said Mihal. But then suddenly behind him there was a which made him jump, and there was the man in the red hat and the green jacket, and he said, Mihal, You changed our tune. I did, said Michal, and I made it a lot better. Said the man, and I suppose you're wanting a reward. Oh, I am, said Michal. I want to play music better than my brother. Very well, said the man. I'll give you music that is like nothing on earth. And he handed him a whistle exactly the same as his brother's. Michal was very pleased, but as he took it, all around him there was a misting, and the misting became a fogging, the fogging became a sleeping, the sleeping became a dreaming. And Michal woke up, and the sun was rising in the sky. His clothes were wet with dew, but he got the whistle. Now that night, Sean was just about to put the whistle to his lips to play a lively tune for everybody, so everybody could sing and dance. Michal came in and he pushed his brother out of the way and he took his place and he put the whistle to his lips and he began to play. Oh, it was much worse than that. Much worse. It sounded like 100 donkeys braying. It sounded like cats when they get their tails trodden on, or dogs barking through the night. It was hideous. And all the people said, Michal, stop that racket. It's like nothing on earth. And then they took him and they pushed him out of the room and they shut the door and they asked Sean to play. Well, that night Michal left the village and I don't know where he went. Maybe he went to Dublin. Maybe he went to learn music the hard way with a lot of practice. But all I can tell you was that the village became a village famous for its music, its singing, its dancing and its happiness. It was the most cheerful village in the whole of Longford and perhaps the most famous in the whole of Ireland. But this was a long time ago, and I don't know what happened to the whistle. But maybe it's still somewhere in Longford. Lost or hidden. And maybe one of you will find it, and I'm sure you'll have fun when you do. Just imagine that if you play it, everybody's going to feel happy, and everybody's going to dance and sing. So if anybody's making you cross, or anybody's doing anything you don't want, or maybe if your teacher gives you extra homework, you can just play the whistle. And it's very hard for somebody to be cross when they're dancing. So you never know, you may find the whistle. Well, I'll be back with another story in a minute. And I'll bring Sparky back and see if he can give us an extra special magic story. Especially for Halloween. See you in a minute.